Hey, glad you could make it. I'm here with Chugmeister Gavlan, and shit happens when you party naked salad. For I played a thing, Dark Souls 2, Kegger of the First Sin. And last time, I was doing surprisingly well here and making my way through No Man's Wharf without getting killed so far, which, given the length and enemy density of this area, is kind of rare. Of course, now that I've said that, I'm sure I will go and get myself killed, but we'll try to avert that. And here we've got a few of those guys who don't like light so much. And I did look up their name. They are officially Darkstalkers, not Nightstalkers, which just makes me sad because it makes me think of a Capcom series that I really think could use another sequel already, and they're probably never going to do it. But let's not think about that too much. Since there are two of these guys in there, I want to get rid of at least one of them before I go fooling around with melee. They're not horribly dangerous enemies, but even with fairly minor enemies, this is not a game where you want to tangle with two people any more than you have to. Quit getting out of the way. That's dirty pool. Alright, now that one's down, we'll have a somewhat fairer fight with the other one. Go ahead, take your best shot. I don't care how pissed off you are. That is quite some range they have on those big old arms of theirs, though. I will give them that. Alright then. We've got some shallows up ahead, which means we can go ahead and grab our treasure from the buttocks of this corpse here. A little bit of free healing, and better yet, another human effigy. Just like always, we cannot have too many of those. And here's a Varangian just kind of hanging out. He's really not paying attention at all. Is he asleep? Well, let it never be said that it's above salad to attack a sleeping man. Did I just hear something? Oh, there was a hollow hiding down there too. Well, that's not going to work out well for him. And just a little further ahead, we have another Varangian trying to be a sneaky Pete by hanging on the pier here, just like we saw once earlier in the level. And that's not going to work out too well for him either. Sploosh! Alright then, before proceeding onward, we've got a couple of braziers here, and you know I'm going to have to light those up. I mean, I've already skipped a few, and that doesn't make me happy at all. And right here, with this upright piece of pier, I guess you'd say, we have a rare example of an act of mercy from the good folks at FromSoft. This was not actually here in the original release of the game, but in the re-release versions of Scholar. We can give it a little boot, and that'll give us a shortcut all the way back to the beginning of the level. And this technically means that when we proceed onward to the ghost ship, we could clear a path and then summon Old School Brad and bring him all the way back here to the end of the level. But Brad has already fulfilled his duty, and we will not trouble him again. However, it is worth exploring up this way, because we've got another torch to light, and we've got a new friend. Now, this is a new friend who would not give us the time of day did we not have at least 8 intelligence, so that's why I've been boosting my int stat a little bit in anticipation of this meeting.
I sense power. Very well. From this day, you shall be my new pupil. I am Carillion, Carillion of the Fold. Surely you've heard the name. Now, do not be afraid. Let us explore the limits of sorcery.
Well, though Carillion would be very dismissive if we didn't have that 8 intelligence, now that we do, he's actually quite friendly. And in that respect, he's probably the nearest equivalent we can find in this game to Big Hat Logan. Although fortunately, spoiler alert, unlike Big Hat Logan, he's not eventually going to go crazy. I notice he must also have some pyromancy skills, because if we had a pyromancy flame, he would be able to upgrade it, but we don't have one of those yet. Let's see what he's got for sale. He's got one of the basic sorcerer staffs, but we already found one of those in the Forest of Fallen Giants. A couple of rings, the Spell Quartz ring, which increases magic defense, and the Clear Bluestone ring, which makes your casting time quicker. He's got some Amber Herbs and some Twilight Herbs, which give you even more of your spell uses back. And interestingly, he has 1 lump of Simpleton Spice. And that's something we'll want to pick up eventually, although we don't have the money for it right now. The idea behind Simpleton Spice is you can choose any spell and use it to lower the requirement for that one spell in terms of intelligence points by 1. That's especially useful if you want to use some utility spells but you're not quite smart enough for them. It's much more useful for utility spells than it is for attack and buff spells because those depend on your intelligence for how good they are, so yeah, it's a bit less useful for that. You actually have to find a particular NPC to apply Simpleton Spice, and we haven't met that guy yet, but we will in the long run, and these are very worth collecting. Now, when we finish up with No Man's Wharf, Carillion here will move on to Majula, so we can easily do some shopping with him later. And he's got a good selection of basic spells. The one that's going to be most of interest to us is Magic Weapon. We're going to need 10 intelligence for that, but we'll need 10 intelligence to use a sorcery staff anyway, so we will eventually have that. And although it's not going to be that great, it is a modest weapon buff at least, so better than nothing. So just to get in his good books, I'm going to go ahead and make a purchase here. And we see that Magic Weapon is sorcery that imbues weapon in other hand with magic. Adds magic damage to the types of damage the weapon already inflicts. Wielding a sword and casting a sorcery are 2 different things, and some members of the Melfian Magic Academy view these varieties of spells as impure. Well, as far as I'm concerned, any tool that helps you get the job done is a valid one. Anyway, we'll see what else Carillion has to say.
The forces of magic and souls lie dormant in this land. It is a fitting place to hone my sorceries. I suspect that I may even conjure up new spells here. Sorcery is yet a mystery even to me. Let us mature together, young pupil.
Well, that's nice of him, and it's good to see some humility in this place. I think if we were more serious about our sorcery and building our intelligence, he would be a pretty good teacher.
Use scrolls to unleash the power of sorceries. But the power of each scroll is reliant on that of its owner. The untrained cannot wield a scroll to its proper potential. Never forget, young pupil, there are no shortcuts to mastery.
That's true.
The forces of magnetism, sorcery.
And that appears to be all that Carillion of the Fold has to impart to us at this time, so we will bid him farewell for now.
Young pupil, do not take my teachings lightly.
Wouldn't dream of it. Oh, and this contraption here really looks like it would be relevant for something, but it's just scenery. Does nothing whatsoever. Yeah, don't lie to us, Wheel. In any case, that's everything we can do on this branch of the pier. So we'll go ahead and move along on our way toward the ghost ship. A woman and hope, huh? Ah, this is the first place that we're going to be able to summon our good buddy Lucatiel. And I note that her summon sign used to be up there in the shortcut, near where Gavlan is now, but they moved it down here, and I suspect that's because Lucatiel's pathfinding is not so good, and every now and then she would try and follow you down this way and get lost in the geometry, or walk right off a pier and plunge in the water to her death. That's our Lucatard. And also it's just a little more convenient to have her here. But I am definitely going to be bringing her along after I clear a path, because part of completing Lucatiel's storyline is taking her to 3 boss fights and having her survive them. That actually used to be really hard, but over the course of the patch history for this game, they've made NPC summons a lot tougher, so keeping Luca alive through the boss fights is much, much easier than it used to be. Now then, we've got a couple bowmen here that we'll need to be careful of. And when we start to approach, there's going to be a couple swordsmen too. I don't think he's already seen me. Oh, he sure has now. Whoa, where the hell did you come from? He must have been hanging out on the pier somewhere that I couldn't see right away. Unfortunately, these guys are pretty easy to drop with the hammer. Thought I saw an item drop there for a moment, but perhaps I was hallucinating. Oh, and the bowman, Senpai has noticed me. We'll drop him before he has a chance to properly get his sword out. Anything up here? No, don't believe so. Nope, not at all. And up there we see another of those pyromancy-using jailers that we encountered in the Lost Bastille. So we'll want to approach with a bit of caution. Gotta have a care about that reach of theirs. Alright then, I think that actually is all of the threats we have to worry about right up until the boss door. But I will play it safe, check things out, and make sure there's nobody waiting for us. Yep, that is our boss fight right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in our good friend Lucatiel of Mira. We've been wanting to have a little jolly cooperation with her, so I've kind of been looking forward to this. Howdy, Luca. It's good to see you. Let's make our way to the boss door and try not to fall in the water on your way. Oh. Looks like that's what happened to that item drop I saw briefly. Looks like physics might have gotten the better of it. I don't think there's any way I can get at it now. Ah, well. Now, there's a little bit of a gimmick to the boss here, which is that, as you can see, the ship here is a little leaky, and once we start the boss fight, the water level is going to slowly rise. This boss actually isn't very difficult as long as the water level stays low, but if you take too long and you start to get swamped up to your waist in the water, then getting around becomes more of a problem, and if you can't dodge, then yeah, not a good situation. So we'll try and take this fairly quickly. Alright, our opponent here is the Flexile Sentry, which has sort of a front side and a back side. The front side has curved swords, and the back side has these spiky clubs that it's going to try and whack us with. And as you can see, they cause bleed buildup, and do a decent amount of stamina reduction on your shield. Oh shit. I would say that the curved sword side is a little more dangerous though, because as you can see, it can combo you kinda on the quick side. But we are doing pretty good damage, and Lucatiel is helping us with some distraction here, so that will definitely help matters. Staying a little off to one side and not perfectly behind the Flexile Sentry is very helpful here, because, as you can see, it doesn't actually need to turn around to hit you when you're behind it, because its backside has weapons too. Oh shit! It has a grab! I don't think I've ever seen that before. Oh well. Like Carillion says, we will learn together. Yeah, you go ahead and try that swing. We're gonna bring you down. And whack. Oh yeah. And so, we've already got one battle survived by Lucatiel. We'll just need to do 2 more. Now, the Flexile Sentry is no big deal at all, as I mentioned, in New Game, as long as you don't let the water get up too high while you're fighting. However, in New Game Plus, it actually does a 180 and becomes one of the bigger pain-in-the-ass bosses, because when you come in here, it'll have 2 ninjas drop in and join the fight right away. And those ninjas in a tight area like this, along with the boss, major problem. And in fact, in the classic version of the game, that boss fight in New Game Plus is the only time you would ever see those ninjas. They don't appear anywhere else. And here, in addition to the boss soul, which I will show momentarily, we get another nice reward, which is a Pyromancy Flame and a free copy of Fireball. Now, in gameplay terms, this is certainly a nice thing to acquire, but in world-building terms, I'm not crazy about this. You recall in Dark Souls 1, we would always receive the Pyromancy Flame from a Pyromancer that we had made friends with, that being Laurentius or Engi, and it represented a part of themselves. And I think that's a nice bit of detail, and in this game it's just kind of lost because the Pyromancy Flame is just sitting here in a random chest. Oh well. Let's go ahead and put that on, just for shits and giggles. And looking at it, we see it is a flame catalyst used by pyromancers. Pyromancers rouse this flame to produce various fire arts. Equip Pyromancy Flame to produce Pyromancy. Attune Pyromancies at a bonfire. The strength of a Pyromancy depends on the strength of one's Pyromancy Flame, which can be improved through reinforcement. Now, Pyromancy reinforcement in this game, you can't just spend money and that's enough. What you have to do is acquire items called Fire Seeds, and then you take the Fire Seed and that plus money to a Pyromancer, and they can upgrade your flame. That, I suppose, is no big deal, because it kind of does a little gatekeeping on how fast you can level the thing up. There is one thing about Pyromancy Flames in Dark Souls 2 that I dislike, though, in addition to the fact that they just drop it in a random chest with no particular build-up or logic to it. In this game, they are somewhat statistically dependent. Reason being, there's no intelligence or faith requirement for using a particular pyromancy scroll, but flame has an inherent scaling property in this. The combination of your intelligence and faith influence how much fire damage you can do. So the fact that pyromancy flames are no longer sort of completely independent of your leveling up, that I'm not crazy about, because it makes them a little less distinctive as a school of magic. Ah well. We might as well look at that fireball we got as well. It's a standard spell for pyromancers. Creates a fireball that is hurled at foes. to use pyromancies, etc., etc. Nothing new about that. And it occurs to me that there are also a couple of rings that I don't think I looked at last episode when we acquired them. The Royal Soldier's Ring is a ring bearing a soldier's seal. It increases the load that can be carried. These rings were granted to warriors who distinguished themselves in the service of King Vendrick. The king favored simple warriors who staked their every battle on strength alone. Well, I guess that suits us pretty well, considering we're going to be a strength-based build, and we're going to be basing most of our effectiveness on just how beefy we are. The Ring of Giants we acquired last time from Gavlan, and that is the beloved ring of the gallant shieldless Lothian, formerly of Farasa. Increases poise. Lothian was born a peasant and died a general. His determination and diligence were unmatched, especially on the battlefield, where he earned his name by choosing to fight without a shield. Well, props to Lothian. I don't think I would like to try that. I'm a little more dependent on my big old shield than I should be. So I guess that is pretty badass. And there's Farasa again. Not the first time we've heard of that kingdom, and it won't be the last. But for now, here's this device here, which doesn't exactly look like a standard helm, but apparently it's all we need to steer the ship in this particular case. Ah, Adventures on the High Seas. And we can't go back this way, which is kind of unfortunate. But something a bit more fortunate is that we will soon have access to a bonfire, so we can just warp back anyway. And considering the big pile of souls I'm carried, that's definitely a positive. Lots of messages here. Nothing's pointless, because I'm the President of the Great United States of America. Confidence is always good. Not sure what that's about. And yes, it is good to know that there is a duo ahead. Couple of Varangians, I believe. Oh, and it looks like they're a little bit partied out. So I should be able to get the drop on at least one of them. Hey, dude. Ah, that is always a satisfying splat. No blocking. That's my gimmick. Alright, we've got an elevator taking us up here. Kind of a long elevator. But here we are. Is there anything around the outer edges? I don't believe there is, but I always want to be thorough. And you will probably notice we're starting to encounter more of a prison-ish environment. No, there isn't. And this prison-ish environment indicates what this is, which is the other path into the Lost Bastille. So now we've gotten in both ways, via the Pursuer, and via No Man's Wharf. And what with the treasures and special boss fights and such, taking both paths is really worth doing. And we've got a couple of prison cells here, most of which are completely inaccessible. But I know there's at least one we can get into, which will have the bonfire. And it looks like there's another one here, which does have a goodie for us. Never give up, skeleton. And we get some common fruit. Have we encountered that before? I'm not sure that we have. Nope, looks like it's new. It's a spotted fruit that temporarily boosts poison resist. This common fruit has no taste, but when facing a true test of metal, its benefits could make the difference between life and death. No taste at all? Wow, that's kinda gross. Anyway, and while we're in the inventory screen, we should take a look at that boss soul we just picked up. The soul of the Flexile Sentry. The Flexile Sentry is a merciless creature whose purpose is to punish the undead. So I guess it stands to reason that we would find him on the prison ship, tormenting the undead who are being taken to the Lost Bastille. Poor soul. Now where's the... Ah, there's the bonfire. We will definitely want to avail ourselves of that. Get that back to Majula. Spend some of these souls we've been racking up. Ah, much better. Wow. It just occurred to me I did in fact get through all of No Man's Wharf without suffering a single death. I'm not sure I've ever done that before. Hooray! Bearer, seek, blessed. Alright. We'll definitely want a bit more strength, so we can finally use that power shield we've been hanging on to for a while. And I want some faith because... well, no big hurry for that. It's going to be a little while longer before we encounter the guy who needs 8 intelligence and faith. But we'll give it 1 point for now. Need more endurance. And we'll definitely want some more vitality, because we have that, whatchamacallit, that great sword that we want to be able to wield sooner than later. And I think I would like a few attunement slots as well. Or a few points in attunement, rather, so that we can get our attunement slot. Well, we'll go ahead and dump 1 point into that, and we'll put our last one into vitality, because we do need a lot of that. But yeah, we have 0 slots for magic right now, so we can't even attune that pyromancy we picked up. We'll want to attend to that sooner than later, I think, but for now, we'll focus on other things and get our weapons ready. Alright. Now, we can finally make use of that shield that I've been eagerly awaiting. Ah, something a little sturdier. Very satisfying. Now, we've got a big old pile of consumable souls as well. Let's go ahead and use those proud knights. And I'm gonna make a quick run over to McDoof's. Pick up a couple of his large Titanites. Because I believe with 2 more large Titanite, we can get 1 more level on the tower shield. And you know me, I like to be as tanky as humanly possible. Alright. What do we got here? 2,500 for one, so I'll need a little bit more of my consumable action in order to afford the other one, but we can do that. Ah, what the hell. I'll go ahead and eat them all. After all, we are going to need to be able to afford the upgrade itself, which I'm not sure this will leave us enough for, but it's worth a try. Yeah. Nifty.
The power to flee and flee.
Oh, McDoif. Pyromaniacal as always. And so we'll check in with Lenegrast and see if we can afford that last current upgrade on the tower shield. Because after this upgrade, I believe they'll start taking chunks.
I knew.
Ah, we can afford it. And I actually bought one more large Titanite shard than I needed. Damn it. Oh well, we'll need it eventually, no doubt.
Your needs so. I don't waste. I'll be around.
And it looks like we still haven't dropped enough money on Lenegrast to get his little reward. Ah well. All things in time. I'm gonna make a quick run up the hill here to see if Carillion has made it back yet, and he has.
Oh, so you finally decided to join us. Let us resume our exploration of sorcery. The forces of magic and souls, like it is, I suspect, sorcery.
Huh, does he have nothing new to say?
Never. I sense something akin to sorcery, only more primordial. I wish to find out more about it, but as we see, this place is in ruins. Just what happened here?
Well, I accidentally cut him off a bit there, but that's interesting. We know what happened to the Forest of Fallen Giants and the fort that lay there, and by extension we kind of know what happened to Drang Lake. The whole invasion of the Giants thing caused a little bit of a problem, even if the kingdom was able to repel them at long last. But the Dark Power, that I'm not so sure about. Well, like you say, Carillion, perhaps we will learn together.
Sorcery was created long, long ago. Some say it was originated by the Great Pale Being. But we've no way of knowing if such claims are true. Many sorceries were lost over the ages. Before pyromancy, there were fire sorceries, but they are long forgotten.
Little callback to the previous game there. By the Great Pale Being, he refers to the one and only Seath the Scaleless, who perished at our very own hand despite his attempts at immortality. And the fire sorceries are something that were used by the Witch of Izalith and her daughters, but ever since she was absorbed into the bed of chaos in her attempt to relight the first flame, well, those sorceries have been gone.
On my trip here, I met a strange girl once or twice. After a time, I never saw her again. I wonder where she went off to. We spoke only a few times, but a fair lass, if a bit clumsy. I hope that she is safe.
Well, that clumsiness actually got her in a little bit of trouble, and she's not exactly safe right now, although I wouldn't say she's exactly in danger either. She's a statue. He's referring to that woman we saw petrified in front of a switch just past Groundskeeper Willie. So we'll want to take a fragrant branch of yore over there and get her unpetrified eventually, and maybe then these two will have a nice little reunion.
The forces of it is source.
Alright, that seems to be all Carillion's gonna have for us at the moment, so we'll be visiting him again.
One day my teachings will save you.
Well, I suppose stranger things have happened. Every now and then, as more people move into Majula, Salden will find some new things to say. I'm not sure if that's happened yet, but there's one way to find out.
Look at our new neighbors. How they fret over all and sundry. Oh, those were better days. Oh, dear me. It really takes me back.
Wow, that kind of says a thing about just how deep Salden's despair is. He actually misses the day when he cared enough about what was going on in the world to have things to fret over.
Hades Tower in the gate, but how it will. May you find.
It looks like that's about all we're going to get out of him for the time being. Alright then. There are a couple of places we could go. But for now I think I'm going to continue along the path that we started and return to the Lost Bastille. And these are the two that we previously had. Coming in the downstairs way, this is our new bonfire, the Exile Holding Cells. So we will start working our way through along that route. Got some summon signs here, but well, I don't know, but they are nice wheels. Now, if I recall correctly, in the past we had a Haid Knight hanging out along this path, and just like the ones we met in our early explorations of the Tower of Flame, they would just hang out and not give you any trouble until you started trouble with them. Oh, now I remember where I am. Yeah, I don't think I actually want to go this way. Sorry, folks, my sense of direction and memory is... Hello, invader? Well, I do believe that's the first time we've been invaded this game. Wonder where the troublemaker is. I have no idea. But anyway, I remember now why I don't usually like to take this way in. If I were to continue along this way and go... Oh, I saw red. Hey, buddy. Oh, no greeting. He's just gonna go straight on the attack. Alright, well, we'll see if we can take care of this gentleman first. You're a little too reliant on your shield there, buddy, and I never thought I'd be saying that about someone else. Taking a few arrows, though, which is not helping me out any. Oh, Jesus! I'm not counting that as your victory. Well, now we're naked and green, which is unfortunate, but... Anyway, yes, I've remembered why I don't particularly like going in this way. That's because in Scholar of the First Sin, if you go that route, then climbing down the ladder there will get you attacked by a pursuer, which is not present in the vanilla game. So this route, I think, the other route rather, the low route, is a little more viable in vanilla Dark Souls 2. But in this one, that just drops you into a real bad situation with Pursuer, and I think I'd rather not. But that's okay, because we have a Fragrant Branch of Yore, and that means we can take the alternate route in that way. We can go ahead and break out the bastard sword for this guy, save the regular sword for, or save the hammer rather, for the armored enemies. Praise Jaw, more herb. And speaking of hammers and armored enemies, we'll take on these gentlemen again. Maybe they'll drop that sword. Oh! Underestimated his range a little bit. That seems to be a problem for me around here. Alright, we'll go ahead and revive this guy, and he's not going to be appreciative. We'll let him get to his feet, and then it's time for a beating. Now, when I open that door that he was in the way of, there's going to be some more royal soldiers in there. And taking them all on with the hammer is a viable option, but it's a little bit risky, and if we go over this way, we have the option of thinning out their ranks a little. Because oddly enough, they can't open that door without your help. They'll just kind of cluster up at it, and you can take out a few of them before you open it. Provided, of course, you have a decent bow and some arrows. Oh, and that's right, I was going to increase my dexterity a little so I could use that sea bow. Oh well, we'll have time. There will be more enemies to slay, more souls to collect, and more levels to gain. Whoops, there we go. You know, I might as well take that pyro hand off, because I can't use it right now, having no attunement slots. I mean, it is technically possible to punch people with it, but it's not particularly potent as methods of combat go. I think there's going to be at least one more soldier in here now that we've thinned out the ranks a bit. But we have definitely improved our odds. Oh, yes. Oh, there's 3 more of them. More than I remembered. But that's okay, they've got a little bit of a bottleneck here. And we've got a hammer. Got one hit on me. But that's alright. Dude, what is your sword doing? That's right, calm down. More fruit. And let's see. I believe if I were to go this way, there'd be a couple more soldiers. Yep. Oh! Man alive, I am having a bad time with explosions today. Not even sure why that went off. Anyway, there'd be another route we could take by opening this gate here with this switch. But then the gate will always stay open, and that means if I have to come back this way, these soldiers will always run through and attack. So I like to avoid doing that until strictly necessary. So let's just move on and explore the lower levels for now. And I believe eventually going this way will take us back toward the place that we came in through the lower path. and we'll have a better way to approach that pursuer. Lots of nasty sort of gourd-type prisons here. Talk about your solitary confinement. That would be a nasty thing to be shut up in. They really don't like undead around these places. Ghost in armor? I'm not sure what that message is about, but never mind. We shall continue downward. Trap it. Oh, hi. Now, the gentleman that we have imprisoned there in the gourd is what you call an undead citizen, and they're dangerous because they explode. Sometimes they inflict straight-up fire damage by blowing themselves up in your face, and sometimes they inflict petrification or equipment breakage. And it can often be hard to hit them and kill them before they blow up, so definitely a type of enemy to treat with care. And sometimes they blow up at you from inside their prisons, but this guy doesn't seem inclined to do that. So we'll just smash his face in. And yep, another thing to spark up there, so I'll be back this way in just a bit. First we will claim the treasure here. More consumables, more effigies. Always pleased to see them. Now then, we've got a torch to light. Do bear with me for just a moment, friends. There we go. And although I imagine you'd expect as much, fragrant branch enemies are one time. Now that we've petrified that guy and gotten him out of the way, we don't need to worry about him anymore. Zorch. And what is the story with this door? Oh, that's right. It just opens out into nothing. Now, always look before you go charging through some random door, folks. It's just safer that way. That big broken door, by the way, is not a real door. We cannot actually proceed through it. Alright. Oh, hi, guys. Ah! Got another piece of me. I have to watch out for that long-range vertical chop. They keep catching me with it. Life gem, very good. I don't think there's anything good for us in these prison cells here. Oh, wait, no, there is a treasure. Some radiant life gems, that's nice. Yeah, so we do have a boss fight up ahead, and it is an armored enemy, which would be vulnerable to strike damage, but I'm not feeling quite ready for that. I would rather do a little more exploring first. Let's see, how did we get in here? Ah, this was the way. So let's see, where else can we go from here? I'm certain I am missing something. Ah, what the hell, let's just pull that that lever. What's a few more Imperials? Royals, rather. What made me say Imperials? Oh, I see. I came around this way and... yeah, shortcut, okay. I still have the feeling there's somewhere else I can go at this point. Like I've missed a route. Well, bear with me, I'm going to have one of my lost moments here. Head downstairs, take a look around here. Nothing exciting. That's the death door. This is not a door. Okay, that's that way, and, okay. So, I guess maybe the boss fight is what I need to do next. Thought there was a little more of the Bastille I could get to without going that route, but, well, whatever. Maybe I'm just, confusing myself with the other pathway. Alright, well, I will want to be alive for this, so, I'm gonna go ahead and drop down a summon sign, see if anyone grabs me for a little while. And since I'm right at the boss gate, I might as well put down a small summon soapstone, just so there's a little more range in the soul memory of the people that I can get summoned by. We'll see if anyone needs a hand. Well, folks, it's been a few minutes and the phone ain't ringing, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel my summon sign here. And we will just go ahead and pop one of our effigies. I do prefer to avoid that when possible, but we have a goodly supply of them. I think this is just a human summon sign. Looks kind of like Carillion, doesn't he? Anyway, the reason I wanted to make myself human here is we have another NPC summon that we can have our first adventure with. Pilgrim Belclair. And as you can probably guess from the staff there, she's a caster type, and a little bit on the squishy side, so she tends to die during the coming boss fight, but again, having a little distraction is helpful. I wonder if that's her corpse in her own timeline. If so, that's a bit of a shame, but at the very least we can give her a little action in the here and now. So what we've got coming up ahead is a 3-enemy boss fight. What are you even attacking? And, if things go well, we'll be able to take out one of the bosses before the other two activate. Otherwise, this is going to get real hairy. But we'll just see how that goes. Unfortunately, this starts with a drop that will leave you a little vulnerable in the beginning, but yeah, we've got the 3 Ruin Sentinels here. Alessia, Ricci, and Yahim. And hopefully Belclair will manage to avoid getting knocked off the edge there. Yeah, we'll give her a little distraction, and I will get my face smashed. But still plenty of Estus. Alright, Yahim is down, and that will help matters. But now the other bosses get activated, and we will have to take on at least 2 of them. But I think we can get one of them to come up here. Come on. There we go. And that will further help isolate them a bit. Because if you have to take on a couple of these at one time, it gets real dangerous real quickly. Alright. Alessia is now down to almost half health, so that's gonna make this a pretty good run, all things considered. Belclair will hopefully keep Ricci busy down there while I take care of Alessia. Overall, this is going pretty well. This is one of those boss fights that can be a major problem if you get gangbanged, but we're keeping it pretty one-on-one at this point, and that's a positive. Oh, looks like Belclair's taken all the aggro, so let's see if we can get a plunge here. Well, that wasn't worth it. Yep, spoke a little too soon with respect to that going passably. So what I'm going to do is clear myself a path here, get the enemies largely out of the way. Oh, what's this way? Well, nevertheless, I'm going to... Well, no, we'll see what we do here. Because I honestly don't remember what there is to do over in this direction, and so we'll see what's available. This could potentially result in me losing some souls, but... Whoop! That's not what I intended. Alright, you jerks with the fire arrows, or fire bolts rather, you got me killed last time, so, yeah, sweet revenge. You got a couple of dogs down there, and what else? Yeah, I think this might be the path into the rest of the Bastille that I was looking for. We'll see. I do apologize for my relative disorganization here. Trying and failing at the Ruined Sentinels before I entirely intended to do so, but... oh well. Gives you a little example of how that boss fight can go wrong, I suppose. And being as this was fairly early in my practice run, it's been a little while since I did this part of the level, so... my memory of it is not the best. So let's see, what have we got out here? We have a treasure. And a pursuer. This is not the one that was potentially going to ambush me earlier, but it is nevertheless a pursuer. And we can actually do a somewhat more tolerable amount of damage to it now that we're inflicting strike damage. And if memory serves, anytime you fight a non-boss pursuer out in the open like this, you get a Twinkling Titanite, and that is very worth having. Gotta watch that stamina, though. I do like baiting out that dash uppercut whenever possible, because that does leave them nice and vulnerable if it misses. Ah, gotta watch that shield bash, that's dangerous. For a tanky person like me, especially so, because... well, that's something we haven't seen from these guys before. Sometimes they do send out a scatter of dark magic at you, but the positive to that is it gives you an opportunity to beat on them for a while. And there's our Twinkling Titanite. Now then, let's see what was in this chest. Yeah, good advice. Oh, very nice. A human effigy, another fragrant branch of yore, and a covetous silver serpent ring. We've already got the +1 version of that, but still, always appreciate the thought. Let's see, that's gonna be death. And this would also be death. Okay, so we're not going that way. Where else can we go around here? Where did I come in from? Alright, this is just where that crossbowman was. That's where the pursuer was, and what is up here, if anything? Yeah, we've got another path here. Enemy ahead, good to know. Oh, this is where I came from. This is right to the tower apart. So is there anywhere else I can go at this point? Yeah, I can see my memory of this area is just completely shot. I have no idea where I'm going. Alright, well, fair enough. In that case, what I'm gonna do is re-clear the path, and we'll get ready to take another crack at the Ruined Sentinel. Or Ruined Sentinels, as the more appropriate terminology would be. So, give me just a moment, folks. I will cut back in as soon as I'm ready for another crack at the boss fight. Alright. Got my hammer, got my bell clear. Let's give this another try. As you've seen, even when this battle starts out well, it can go wrong in kind of a hurry. So let's see if we can avert that this time. That big overhand hammer smash, that's one of the best times to get some hits in on these guys. Because it does leave them vulnerable for a while. It's also an opportunity to heal, or to recover some of your stamina if you need to. And Yahim is not fighting very intelligently this time. I'm not going to complain. Unfortunately, my soul pile is down there, so it's going to be a while before I want to make any efforts. Oh, hey. Holy shit, what was that? Ah! Oh, God! Completely unintentional, all of it! Well, Belclair's in a little bit of trouble, but I've got my own problems to deal with right now because Alessia is in my face. Oh, gonna try spinning. That's a good trick. Oh, not good. Glug, glug, glug. Good job, Salad. Now go ahead and take another crack at me, why don't you? Oh shit, I've got double aggro. Not good. Yeah, help me out a little there, Belclair. Why don't you get somebody's attention? Nope, they still want a piece of me. Oh! Picked the wrong time to drop my shield there. Alright. Belclair drew aggro for me, which I greatly appreciate, which means, who am I fighting here? Riche. Or Rice, or Ricci, or whatever the hell your name is. The important thing is you're almost dead. Oh, we might even come through this with Belclair in one piece, which is kind of rare, honestly. Oh shit! Oh. Well, that was a little bit of a kill steal, but I think we can forgive that. And I didn't know Belclair was actually capable of self-healing. Alright then, let's take a look at the Ruined Sentinel soul. It is the soul of the Ruined Sentinel, a creation of the jailer. The Ruined Sentinel has no corporeal form. It is only an empty soul that haunts the armor. So they're just animated armor, huh? That makes it kind of peculiar that they have their own names, but... well, I guess we are all sometimes attached to our creations. Anyway, it seems like, aside from the broken door that we can't use, there are no actual exits from here, but this area is absolutely honeycombed with illusory walls. Don't remember where all of them are, but we will gradually find our way through. Oh, there's also this way. Where does this actually lead? This leads up to the upper floor. Okay, fair enough. But I know there are illusory walls around here, and we will eventually uncover most or all of them. There's an undead citizen here somewhere that's going to try and blow us up. We'll just be careful there. Where are you? There he was! And here we have another bonfire, so we'll get that lit. We'll see if we can suss out the situation with the illusory walls, and then we will continue our explorations. And this, I remember, is the other part of the level I've been looking for. So at least we found it in the long run. And I've got a nice big pile of souls for some more upgrades, so that's a positive as well. Alright, back downstairs we go, and I know some of those hidden doors are around here somewhere. Oh my god, one of these messages is actually honest for once. And what do we get for our troubles? A rusty coin. Which you may recall, just increases our item discovery. For a short time. Now I know there's more of them than that. And one of them, it appears, is right next door. Well, that's handy. And there ain't shit in it. Bad luck indeed. Is this going to be another one? Yes. And it's got a chest, which does not appear to be a mimic. And it's a target shield. Nothing I'm terribly interested in, much preferring my solar-decorated portable wall, but we can check it out. And just like in Dark Souls 1, it's designed for parrying, which I also don't care about. I sure do like their hidden doors around here. This, I think, might lead up to that ledge where that corpse is. We'll find out in a moment. No, leads to a chest. And possibly another illusory wall? Yes. But first we'll check out the goodies. And it is a sorcery that we will probably not use, but nice to have nonetheless. Hush! A sorcery that facilitates surreptitious activity, reduces the sound made by its caster. The eastern land of Mira is not only the home of proud knights, there is also a traditional order of shadow knights, who quietly carry out unspeakable tasks. So Mira's got assassins, too. Ah, yes, this is where that corpse lives. Some free homeward bones I will never turn up my nose at. Over there is where we fell into the boss arena. Alright then. Let's just head on downstairs and we'll find the non-illusory path leading up. And then we can make use of that bonfire and head on back to Majula. Because once again, we've got a big old pile of souls to spend. Here it is. No, I don't want to summon an evil ogre. What the hell, we'll go ahead and do our level shopping right now.
Bearer of lest.
Now let's see, it was, what, 15 dexterity that I needed for that bow? So we'll add at least 1, 2, 3, yeah, what the hell. More endurance, more vitality. Another faith. Another attunement. And what the hell, we'll take care of that last point of faith we need right now. Alright, very nice. That means I can now get equipped with a superior bow. And on that happy note, I think we'll call it a day. Thank you all for joining me, as always. I do apologize for the bit of navigational confusion there. I think I'd forgotten that big chunk of the level was behind the Ruin Sentinels and that they were not at the end of it, so that was my confusion. Next time, I think, with a little better sense of my bearings, I'll be able to keep the amount of Lost Un to a relative minimum. No promises, of course. At any rate, it has been a pleasure, and I hope to see you again very soon. Have a good one, folks. Well, one thing that I always can find reliably is my appreciation for you, dear patrons. My thanks go out to Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Johnny Millennium, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Craig Patterson, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Darren Chow, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, and Argyle Jelly. Thanks go out as well to all of you other patrons, and to all of you commenters, subscribers, and watchers. I do appreciate your continued presence, and I hope you find me worth your while for some time to come. Take care.